In another case that appeared in the records of the Board of Commissioners on December 16, 1862, Emmeline Wedge filed petitions on behalf of herself, her 2 children, and her sister Alice Thomas, who were all enslaved on the property belonging to Alexander McCormick. McCormick refused to take advantage of the compensation provision of the new law when it took effect, but Emmeline saw an opportunity. He reluctantly appeared before the clerk of the court after receipt of a summons. According to the court records, McCormick, quote, denied the constitutionality of the Emancipation Act and said that he would bide his time until it was declared unconstitutional, end quote. Besides, he was a citizen with rights to property, and why would anyone take seriously the claims made by an enslaved woman at this point in the war? Just before his case was decided, McCormick reappeared before the clerk and commissioners of the district, and for the first time, formally contended with Emmeline's liberty claims. In this case, emancipation threatened the property rights of slaveholders and excluded white residents more generally from any democratic processes that decided the fate of slavery in Washington. The facts of Emmeline's case reveal the unique geographic position of Washington, D.C. and the neighboring Chesapeake counties. As an enslaved woman, Emmeline challenged both the legal validity of her enslavement and forced McCormick to contend with her testimony against him. The Supplemental Act passed in the summer of 1862 permitted enslaved women in the District of Columbia to testify against white men and women for the first time. Regarding the actual case, evidence showed that McCormick's farm was located along the border dividing the district from Maryland, and that just one day after the Emancipation Act became law, he instructed the slaves to reside on the Maryland side of his property. According to the records of the Board of Commissioners, he built a small tenement for them on the Maryland side, while his main living quarters remained in Washington, along with the cow pen and other buildings included on the homestead. While McCormick generally prohibited enslaved people from traveling to the district side of the property, it was proven that Alice was, quote, required to drive cattle from the pasture to the cow pen, end quote, which was technically located within the boundaries of the nation's capital. Unidentified witnesses also testified that they had seen the women and children in McCormick's Washington home daily, and that for approximately 7 or 8 weeks, Emmeline and her family had resided in the district with an older man also bearing the last name Wedge, who was identified as the father of Emmeline's husband. The Board of Commissioners ultimately acknowledged Emmeline's right to claim freedom under the Emancipation Act.